Guys, okay, you asked for this. Okay, so not everybody asked for it, but let's do it anyway. Let's ask AI about Chrystia Freeland. Mr. Speaker, that Chrystia Freeland. Yeah, our favourite Deputy Prime Minister to Justin Trudeau. Slight bit of sarcasm there with our favourite. So we asked Chat GPT, which is an AI. If you don't know about these AI things, the Chat GPT, it actually finds all the honest and truthful information on the interwebs. It tries not to go into fakery or misinformation, and it gives you the answer from that. So rather than me search through 5 bad things about Chrystia Freeland, driving, lying, just basically everything that she does, Chat GPT does it for me. Or we think it does. Because I asked, list 5 reasons Chrystia Freeland should not be trusted by Canadian voters. And Chat GPT said, it's important to note that opinions about political figures can vary. And it goes on to say that it didn't really want to give me an answer on that one. Although it gave me a straight answer on Trudeau, but not on Chrystia. So let's rephrase the question. Name 3 reasons she would be a bad choice to take over the Prime Minister's role. Now it came up with some reasons. It's like, oh yeah, let's not have her do that. So, number 1, economic concerns. Critics argue that Chrystia Freeland's economic policies may be divisive, and there are concerns about the impact on certain industries or economic sectors. Yes, very decisive, just like Justin. So a very similar person. So that's why ChatGPT was a little bit concerned. Number 2. Diplomatic relations. Some individuals express apprehension about her approach to international relations, suggesting that her stance may strain diplomatic ties or affect Canada's standing on the global stage. I don't know. I think Justin's probably the biggest diplomatic issue that we've got, but I'm not so sure about that one. What do you guys think? Just leave us a comment. What do you think of that? Of number two? Number 2. Number 3. Partisan allegations. Opponents may raise concerns about perceived partisanship, suggesting that Freeland's decisions could be influenced by political affiliations rather than the best interests of the country as a whole. I think everything she does is influenced by some other outside sources like the WEF, and she has never ever had the interest of the country as a whole. Only her own interest. That's my position on that. So we asked, what link does she have with the Ukraine? Let's get some truthful answers about what's going on there. And ChatGPT said, Chrystia Freeland has Ukrainian heritage. Her maternal family has Ukrainian roots. Her maternal grandfather, Michael Komiak, was a Ukrainian nationalist and editor. Freeland herself has spoken about her family's history and connections to Ukraine. Her understanding of Ukraine's history and politics has likely been shaped by her family background. Additionally, before entering politics, Freeland worked as a journalist and reported on international affairs, including issues related to the Ukraine. Now, let's go back to the journalism part and let's ask AI about how did her grandfather become an editor and acquire his paper? Now we're getting down to it. Chrystia Freeland's maternal grandfather, Michael Komiak, was a Ukrainian nationalist who became an editor during the tumultuous period in history. So it's saying that it was an area in history that was very confusing. In the context of the World War II, Komiak's activities were associated with the Ukrainian nationalist movement. He served as the editor-in-chief of the Ukrainian language newspaper called Kravosky Visti during the Nasty occupation of Krakow. It's important to note that during this time there were complex and sometimes controversial alliances and affiliations in Eastern Europe. You remember the Ukraine was on the bad guys' side at that time. After World War II, Michael Chromiak moved to Canada, where he continued his career as a journalist. So we had a anti-British American journalist spreading propaganda was allowed to come and move to Canada straight after the war, after he'd done his bit for the funny moustache people. The circumstances of his editorship during the war have been a subject of historical scrutiny and debate. I bet they have. I'm going to ask this question. Was that newspaper previously owned by Jews? The newspaper, Krakovsky Visti, edited by Chrystia Freeland's grandfather during the nasty occupation, got so many words I've got to be careful what I say, of Krakow, was indeed previously owned by Jews. Before Chromiak took over as the editor-in-chief, the newspaper was called a Nowy Dziennik and was a Polish-language publication, daily publication. When the Nazis occupied Krakow during World War II, they closed down the Polish newspaper forcibly, may I add, and Chromiak took over the publication, renaming it Krakowskie Visti in Ukrainian. It's essential to acknowledge the historical context of this period, which involved complex and often troubling circumstances during the wartime occupation. The changes in ownership and editorial direction were influenced by the larger geopolitical events of that time. Yeah, they were. They were influenced by the fact that Chrystia Freeland's grandfather was trying to spread misinformation about the Russians, the British and the Americans and the Canadians who were defending their freedom. Hope you enjoyed that little look into what Chat GPT thought of Chrystia Freeland. If you can think of anybody else we can cover, let's cover them. Let's do it. Let's scroll the internet using AI and dig up all the dirt on everybody. Let's do that. But it depends what you put in. But if you put in the wrong things, if you put in things that are going to make somebody look bad, Chat GPT won't allow it, not unless it can find the truth. So it found the truth on Freeland 100%. It backed up everything that everybody said. So let's do another one of these maybe next Friday. Till next time.